Lucas Gordon, desde Hollywood, California, para acompañarnos con esto que es Viva la Fiesta con Lucas. Tenemos un programón hoy, así que espero que me acompañen por este ratito nomás, hasta que ya se pueden ir a tomar algo, descansar, ya es fin de semana. Así que buenísimo, buenísimo que puedan arrancar este fin de semana con mi compañía si les apetece. Así que bueno, vamos a sacar la intro, ¿ok? Acuérdense de que estoy manejando todito y yo solito. Así que esto es todo nuevo para mí, ¿eh? Vamos a sacar acá la intro. ¡Ey! ¡Ya está! ¡Ey! ¿Cómo están? Ahora sí. Bueno, hoy tenemos un programón, ¿ok? Hoy tenemos un excelente programa, un excelente invitado. Así que estoy ansioso por compartirles todo esto. Es más, tengo acá, ya me puse ¿cómo se llama? El script, ¿ok? El libreto. Estoy chequeando que esté todo bien. Las páginas ya están saliendo por todas las páginas. Les voy a recordar, vamos a ver si esto funciona. Ahí está, miren, salimos por Twitch, salimos por YouTube, por Trovo, por Twitter, por VK, por Facebook, por Dailymotion y algunas radios locales. Así que si no me encuentran por un lado, me pueden encontrar a Viva la Fiesta por todos lados. Ahí vamos mejorando. Ahí está, mirá. Antes tenía que andar buscando con el cursor, ahora con dos botoncitos sale todo, ¿ok? Así que bueno, en un ratito nomás vamos a tener a nuestro invitado de hoy, que es nada más y nada menos que Joel Ellis, vocalista de Cats and Boots, vocalista de Heavy Bones. Heavy Bones es una banda que se había formado con Frankie Banali, que su alma fluya por el universo. Ya nos ha dejado en este plano de vida. Por Gary Hoey en guitarras y él estaba en la voz. Una excelente banda, tengo el disco por ahí, tengo los Cats in Boots ahí también, con una banda medio japonesa-americana, ¿eh? También vamos a tener a Áspera, vamos a tener a los Motley Crue también, así que vamos con nuestro sponsor y volvemos.
Mena Income Tax, preparación individual de impuestos, más de una década de experiencia en preparación de taxes. Se sentirá como en casa. Atención ultra personalizada y profesional. Nosotros lo cuidamos. No importa donde usted se encuentre. Atendemos a todo el país. Precios módicos. Mena Income Tax. A un lado la pena y gane con Mena. Contáctenos ya.
Muy bien, ahí está. Así que les aclaro a todos que si están en Estados Unidos o fuera de Estados Unidos, pero tienen que hacer su preparación de impuestos, les sugiero a Alejandra Mena de Mena Income Tax, que la han invitado a que sea parte de las filas de Hacienda más de una vez. Le han dicho, no, ¿por qué no venís con nosotros? Ella es devota a sus clientes, así que por ahora va a seguir con Mena Income Tax. Así que los invito a todos a que, sea donde estén, le pueden mandar un email a menaincometax@gmail.com por cualquier consulta. No van a cobrar por consulta, así que cualquier preguntita que tengan, ahí se las recomiendo. Así que bueno, vamos con el primer disquito, el único disquito que tenemos hoy por la noche. Antes que nada le quiero mandar un saludo a Mariano García. Si ven las fotitos que están ahí dando vuelta por los distintos medios sociales, son del talentosísimo fotógrafo de Mar del Plata, Mariano García. Así que si estás en Mar del Plata o si estás en cualquier parte del planeta y necesitas edición de fotografía, también lo podés contactar a Mariano García. ¿Ok? Así que gracias. Bueno, las fotos las pueden ver ahí y ahí creo que tiene el link, pequeño link, y si no me contactan a mí. Obviamente siempre está ahí Mariano para servirles. Vamos con... Les comento que Mariano Berrit, ok, vamos a ver si hice bien, Esto era acá. Ahí está, muy bien. Mariano Berrit es quien edita muchas de las cosas que salen acá por Viva la Fiesta con Lucas, BLF. Así que también lo pueden ubicar en el social media, ahí está Mariano Berrit, ok, en Facebook. Y Vamos con Federico Rabe. Federico Rabe es quien cuida mis seguros, ¿ok? Es el que me da seguridad de alguna manera. Así que Federico Rabe, si estás en Estados Unidos, pues viste, esto es internacional. Salimos en Argentina, salimos en España, salimos en todas partes. Pero bueno, para lo que son seguros de Estados Unidos, así como taxes, bueno, para lo que es seguro de Estados Unidos, le recomiendo a Federico Rabe, que además es una excelente persona y siempre está al lado mío colaborando con todos los animalitos y con un montón de causas. Así que aparte que los va a cuidar, encima colaboran a través de él con un montón de causas. Ahora sí, vamos a la banda, vamos a la banda, miren, vamos a Áspera. Miren, ahí está el Peter, el Richard, el Rocardo y el Nico Goyo. Esta super banda de Áspera es una agrupación argentina, ¿ok? Que nació en el año 2000. Hoy se conforma por los que están ahí: Richard Áspero, Rocardo Áspero, 314J o Peter y Nico Goyo Muñoz. Si tuviera que describir un poco, en pocas palabras, a Áspera, sería el último eslabón de originalidad musical desde Marilyn Manson. Para mí es una opinión personal, Marilyn Manson de alguna manera le dio un nuevo... Le había dado un nuevo toque visual, grotesco al rock y no recuerdo... Musicalmente, en cuestión de originalidad, han aparecido cosas muy interesantes. No sé qué tanto, por ejemplo, la música urbana salió de todo lo que se hizo antes, ¿ok? Por ser original, pero en cuestión de la música dentro del rock, para mí, creo que Áspera fue lo más novedoso que he podido percibir en lo que he visto hasta ahora. No es que han inventado mucho, pero sí creo que Áspera se destaca muchísimo por los mensajes, la parte lírica, el estilo de vida, diría, de ellos. Es, a ver, claro, lo visual en lo lírico, como decía, y desde lo lírico como lo elocuente, sin mordaza ni vaselina. ¿Qué nos trae Áspera? Metal bizarro. Musicalmente, vamos con este disco, miren. Acá está. Esto es ¡Hijo de puta! ¡Hijo de puta! Así nomás, HDP. Y tanto este disco como previos y posteriores trabajos discográficos viene plagado de originalidad. La portada es un espejo. Miren, la voy a mostrar así. ¿Ok? Miren, pongo el dedito acá para que vean que es un espejo. Porque lo gracioso es que vos agarrás el disco, te mirás y lees hijo de puta y te estás viendo la cara. Es súper original. La verdad es increíble. Y bueno, la verdad no, yo creo que es más el lado del humor que la ofensa, porque obviamente si yo veo hasta así, me veo a mí, me muero de risa. Yo digo, no, qué original, Obviamente, a base de esto, el humor es la parte vital, la parte creo que central de los ásperos, ¿ok? De Áspera. Bastante parodia, humor ácido, humor realista y un claro trasfondo de las letras contestatarias también, Hay muchas cosas que vos decís, te estás matando de risa y de repente, pum, te tiran alguna, van tirando mensajitos que reflejan muchas realidades. Las malas palabras están a la orden del día, como lo verán en este disquito que está ahí plantado. A buen entendedor, obviamente, todo se entiende bien. Siempre, aunque sea una cosita, alguna que otra palabrita genera una sonrisa, aunque por ahí no todo es carcajadas. Y es imposible realmente reírse. Y una vez que comprendes el humor de ellos, no parás, Bueno, este disco trae 14 petardos. Sería 14 canciones, uno más sonoro y penetrante que el otro. Estoy tratando de hacer un poco, de seguir esa onda Áspera. Contra Flor al Mazo sale un poco de la metralla metalera, porque acuérdense que es un metal bizarro. Y se experimenta a lo largo, que se experimenta este metal que se experimenta a lo largo de este CD. Hay que estar bien atento a lo que se dice, porque al igual que los Simpsons, ¿se acuerdan los Simpsons? ¿Ok? Estos haces de la comunicación social con música deja regado un montón de detalles subliminales, en los videos en especial, en la parte visual. Notas subliminales que pueden despertarte o estimular tu humor. La combinación de voz cruda y ronca de Richard con la elocuencia verbal de Ricardo son por lejos lo más original que he apreciado en este nuevo siglo. No puedo dejar de lado obviamente la potencia y contundencia de la base rítmica de Peter y Muñoz. Bombeando significa hacer el amor, ¿ok? Bombeando es una obra maestra una vez más de originalidad, recordando el clásico de Sumo, La Rubia Tarada. Es una versión, bueno, los que no están en Argentina o no conocen a Sumo, Sumo es una banda clásica y La Rubia Tarada prácticamente es uno de los número unos, uno de los temas principales de la historia. Y bueno, ellos hacen una versión sumamente original. Reverendo HDP habla de los trabajadores de la religión que han cometido abuso y violación de menores. Así que, como les decía, no solo todo es humor, sino también hay muchos mensajes que reflejan la realidad. Y bueno, esto es recomendado para quien tiene gran humor y les gusta el metal moderno. Y si se rompe el espejo, deben llamar al 911 o a un cirujano plástico porque por algo será. También se lo recomiendo a los fanáticos de Steel Panther. Para los que están acá en Estados Unidos y hablan español, ¿se acuerdan de Steel Panther? Bueno, dentro de esa onda, ¿ok? Hay muchas cosas más bizarras. Steel Panther es mucho más sexual, pero bueno, en definitiva, para ustedes también se lo recomiendo. Áspera es una excelente banda. Ahí está. ¿Ese es? ¿No? Este es. Ahí está. Así que bueno. Ahora más que nada, les voy a comentar que tenemos a nuestro invitado especial, al vocalista de Cats in Boots, al vocalista de Heavy Bones, tiene también discografía solista, y este va a ser nada más y nada menos que Joel Ellis de Cats in Boots. Vamos con ellos.
MENA Income Tax, preparación individual de impuestos, más de una década de experiencia en preparación de taxes. Se sentirá como en casa. Atención ultra personalizada y profesional. Nosotros lo cuidamos. No importa de donde usted se encuentre. Atendemos a todo el país. Precios módicos. MENA Income Tax. A un lado la pena y gane con MENA. Contáctenos ya.
Hello everyone, we are here in Hollywood, California.
Buenos días.
With Joel Ellis. He was the singer for Cats in Boots, Heavy Bones, Mary Hawks, and I don't know if I'm missing something.
You're missing a few things.
Oh, okay. That is why you are here.
All right.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It feels good to be here in Hollywood and to be on your show. It's been a long time, huh? It's been a long time, huh? Yeah. So yeah, last time
Last time your son was probably a teenager.
Joey, yeah, no, Joey's now he's giant with a beard. He's great. He's doing great. In fact, we made a record together that not too many people know. So I will be doing that. We called it the Ellis and Angel because he's Joey Angel. This is his middle name.
Oh.
And so we did a record in Hollywood, and it's kind of a cool thing. We were trying to reach for maybe like a classic rock feel, maybe like the Eagles or Bob Seger or something. Yeah. And he played lead guitar with some great people.
I know that. You told me that.
Yeah. So I might release that. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, because when he was a teenager, we finished, and Sony Nashville said, "Hey, I want to give you a deal." And released the record, and then Joey said, "Yeah, Dad, I don't want to do that kind of music anymore." So that's the way life is, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Bueno, les preguntaba cómo estaba con el hijo. El hijo, bueno, lo conocí hace unos años cuando el hijo era bastante más joven. Ya está grande, me dice. Grabaron un disco juntos de música más tipo clásica, como las bandas que mencionó él, Eagles, Bob Seger. Y consiguió un trato para editarlo, y el hijo le dice, no, ya esa música no quiero grabar más. Así que bueno, vamos a preguntarle un poquito qué viene ahora en este año. So, tell me, 2022 is coming, we are in 2022, and what is going on with your plans?
Well, wow, okay, so your fans know this is pre-recorded, so it's hard for me to talk in the future. But
yeah, but just...
yeah, so this year I have some great archived material that I've kept for a long time from the Heavy Bones sessions on Warner Brothers.
Wow.
And in talking with Warner Brothers, they had a great idea to go ahead and license the individual songs of Heavy Bones to match the archive songs. It was never released. So these songs are very special because Heavy Bones, we were a very self-produced band up until the studio, and so in our rehearsal room, I put a tape machine, a quarter-inch tape machine with 8 tracks. And so we put the microphones in the room, and we recorded everything live. And so Frankie Benelli on drums, and Gary, and the original bass player, Rex Tennyson, on bass. And so everything went to the 8-track, and we mixed it and gave it to, these were my tapes, and we gave them, let Warner Brothers listen. And from there, this was the only recording that was ever done of the band live, right? So, and it's also the only recordings of the original bassist, Rex, playing bass. So it's really, truly the raw essence of Heavy Bones before the fancy productions and the $1 million budget. So this is being released as a double record set. And these are songs that no one's ever heard before. These are songs that didn't make the record. And there are some really great songs in there. And then in that compilation are going to be kind of like, the studio songs of Warner Brothers, but it's kind of like a reissue because it's never been reissued. And then the other one is, the Heavy Bones one, is the original song ideas that I made, before the record, deal.
So it's going to be double.
Yes, so it's going to be in its own, just a small, but it has alternative versions of the songs that I ended up putting on the record. And there's that. And then I also have what's coming out. Oh, do you want to translate what I said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bueno, le pregunté qué está pasando para este 2022. Obviamente estamos haciendo la entrevista un poquito más temprano y me decía de que está hablando con la Warner Brothers para hacer una especie de paquete, ¿no? Con 2 CDs en lo que tiene lo que fue la única grabación en vivo de esa banda, pues esa banda tuvo una producción y todo, pero después se separaron. Entonces no han tenido prácticamente muchas grabaciones, pero lograron grabar algo en vivo y es lo que está armando con incluso canciones que no han salido grabadas, que no han salido editadas ni lanzadas. Y él está trabajando con la Warner Brothers para que salga eso en un disco doble. El segundo disco son canciones que fueron preparadas antes de la producción también, son versiones diferentes que él tenía y que quería grabar, así que va a estar complementario dentro de este nuevo disco. Do you have a idea when it's going to be released? ¿Cuándo va a ser editado?
Well, in 2021, I began digging up the masters on tape and having them digitized. So now the masters are digitized by the expert, Dan Johnson. So he is the man who created this technique. And so now this is phase 1. I've digitized them, and I'm putting them together with the artwork in 2021. And so depending on, I hope to have them released by summer of 22. It's a process in the works, it's different than just saying, okay, we have a band, we have songs, let's go record, and then, make the record and go. No, it's a little bit different. This is more of a studio process, production, so, yeah.
Bueno, tienen pensado sacarlo para verano, lo que sería verano de acá del norte, invierno del sur de 2022. Están trabajando de una manera un poquito más atípica a la tradicional. Están sacando de los masters todo el contenido y lo están digitalizando, entonces están trabajando en todo eso y bueno, todavía están en la parte de producción. Le voy a preguntar un poquito cómo se dio la banda, ¿no? Ya que estamos hablando con Heavy Bones, Después vamos a pasar con un poquito de Cats in Boots. I was telling that we are talking about Heavy Bones and we're going to talk about a little bit of Cats.
I have one more record coming up. It's actually a great...
Heavy Bones?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
This is my solo record that I
Yes, you mentioned that.
produced in the studio with some very, very great artists. Whole different level than Heavy Bones. Completely different level. These are true artists. You know, it's like David Bowie said, there's a big difference between a musician and an artist. And what we did was we took some of the greatest minded artists and I took them into a studio. So it just happened to be the studio in the basement of an apartment building in Hollywood that once belonged to Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
So in the 60s, Jimi Hendrix was living in the apartment and he used the basement for his own personal studio. So the room stayed the same, but they brought in a new soundboard. And
Well, Hollywood?
yeah, it's by the corner of Highland and Sunset, and back the
Oh.
next. If you go behind the Rally's Burger, if the Rally's Burger is still there, behind there in the street, you'll see an old, dreary-looking apartment building.
I know which one is.
Yeah, and so down in the basement, you go down like the dark steps and in the back. But when Jimi Hendrix left to go live in New York, Frank Zappa family, I was very close to the Zappa family and Frank Zappa, and he would tell me stories about that room. But he recorded the Hot Rats record there, and story has it that a lot of artists like Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison would read his poetry and drink, and you know, a lot of things like Grateful Dead and bands like that recorded in it. They changed the name to TTG at the time. Then it sat empty forever, maybe decades. And then producer Michael Maum, I met him at the Rainbow. He said, "Hey Joe, you want to come test out the room?" And I said, "Hell yeah, let's go." So I gave him money for the week, and we locked ourselves in to this room in the basement. And so I had the engineer is Barry Sanders. He engineered the Moody Blues. And I had Phil Chen on bass.
Phil Chen, yeah.
He played with Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart.
John Fogerty,
And
yeah.
Larry Aberman, who played drums for the Vaughan Brothers on Double Trouble. And several great guys. George Shelby, who played sax with Sting and Anita Baker. And Spider Middleman, who played sax with Chucky Weiss and the Goddamn Liars. And also Jam Ohashi from Cats and Boots on guitar. And another friend, Jimmy Zolo. I was spending a lot of time working with Bobby Womack and the Rolling Stones at the time. And so Bobby Womack and I were really mind-melting on a lot of music. And I came from the darker, rock, and he gave to me this classic R&B, and we mushed it together, and because we lived together next to each other, our penthouse suites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and along with Vanity and all kind of eccentric artists at the time. And so this music, and of course I was spending a lot of time with the Rolling Stones during the Voodoo Lounge record and this and that. So all of this culmination came down into the studio. We put ourselves in the studio for a week and didn't see the sunshine. And most of the songs, we didn't have the songs written. We just made them up on the spot in the studio.
Wow.
And most of the songs are one take, but it's a very rare, very special record. And so I'm going to have it, to mix it, Shelly Yakus, who is Shelly Yakus, great producer, legendary. He was running A&M Studios. And at the time, he said, Joel, this is incredible, stuff. He said, you can use A&M Studios, please, and do the deal with A&M and use the studio when you want to mix. So I began to do that. And towards the midway through this, I heard my father had cancer. He was dying. So I put the record aside, and I went to take, my father and my family. So during this period of time, Jimmy Iovine, he sucked up all the masters for all the records coming out and created a vacuum and flooded the market with rap music. And so Shelly called me and said, "Hey, Joe, you better let me send your masters." So this was then, and now I still have it. I still have it. So now this classic, amazing recording with these just magical. I have digitized it, and so now I'm going to find maybe Warner Brothers. I don't know, but I'm going to release it originally on vinyl. So it's going to be mixed very well.
Wow.
The engineers who digitized, they said, "Wow, the sound quality is amazing. You know, it's going to be a great sounding record. You know, we're going to mix it like something like the quality of like Steely Dan or you know, like that Pink Floyd."
Classic, right?
It's a wonderful record. It's not heavy.
No.
It's got, you know, dark bluesy guitars, and it has saxophone. It's like jazz, kiss of jazz, you know, kiss of blues, kiss of rock, you know, kiss of R&B, and it's just great. I'm very proud of that record. So this is the one to look for. This is the one. And I'm going to be touring to support this record and some of my other.
Let me translate a little. Just a little.
You may want to have the subtype, you know, the words.
You know what? It takes a lot of work. Believe me, that is why I'm translating on spot. Bueno, le estaba hablando de que está por sacar un disco solista, ¿ok? Dijo un montón de historias muy breve de todo lo que pasó acá a pocas cuadras de donde estamos ahora, en Sunset y Highland, que eran los estudios de Jimi Hendrix, antes de irse a vivir a New York, y resulta que un montón de artistas estaban viviendo ahí en el mismo lugar y empezaron a participar también, y tienen un montón de canciones grabadas en una muy buena calidad. Participan también músicos que él mencionó, Jackie Chan, de un montón de artistas con el que tocó. Hay un montón de músicos que aparecen como invitados, y bueno, tiene los masters que estuvieron grabando en aquel entonces. What year was that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It was the time when the Rolling Stones were doing the Voodoo
Oh,
Lounge.
the Voodoo Lounge, 90s, somewhere in the 90s.
94.
94, ok. En el año 94 pasó todo esto, entonces, así que bueno, está trabajando con eso, que es lo más importante para él. Está trabajando con lo de Heavy Bones, pero el disco solista es lo que están poniéndole más energía. La música no tiene nada que ver ni con Heavy Bones, ni con Cats and Boots. Simplemente tiene mucho más rock y soul y blues y mezclas así, jazz, sí, un poquito de música jazz también. Él estaba viniendo de la parte bien dura del rock, y Bobby Womack se encontró con él y armaron estas cosas también. So Bobby Womack participated in this, right?
Oh yeah,
Because I'm translating.
Bobby Womack and I were you know, two Pisces brothers. He's from Cleveland as well, and you know, he used to say to me, you know, when people would say, oh, you know, he would say, "Joe, we just two Pisces from Cleveland," you know, and that's we're just two Pisces from Cleveland. So yeah, but Bobby had an immense influence on this record, and I miss him badly. He was a very, very dear soul of mine, and I was very blessed to have known him, because other people who have known him, you know, the Rolling Stones, he wrote the song that broke the Rolling Stones in the world. He, in the back of the Chitlin Circuit bus with Ray Charles and Little Richard, he taught Jimi Hendrix how to flip his guitar he's Jimi Hendrix left-handed, playing right-handed guitar. He showed him how to do the chords in the bus, and the rest is history, you know. He was with Janis Joplin, the last person to see her alive, you know. These different things, he's just such an immense godfather of modern music today, but not recognized nearly enough. So
No.
yeah, I would ask everybody to recommend to them to definitely listen to a lot of Bobby Womack.
Bueno, estábamos hablando brevemente de Bobby Womack, todas las cosas que hizo. Lo hizo tocar del otro lado a Jimi Hendrix, porque le enseñó cómo tocar de ese lado. Fue la última persona que vio viva a Janis Joplin. Bueno, y él tiene una tremenda influencia. Obviamente ya no está con nosotros y lo extraña mucho, y bueno, él tuvo la fortuna de tenerlo cerca. Le voy a preguntar un poquito cómo conoció a Frankie, cómo se formó los Heavy Bones. How did you meet Frankie, Gary, Rex?
Well, I don't want to talk too much about Heavy Bones. I don't feel it was a highlight of my life, but I appreciate the recognition we get. Frankie, he was one of my earliest friends in the early 80s when I first came to Hollywood. Frankie and I became friends right away.
Here?
In Hollywood. And he's also from New York, and I'm from Cleveland, so we had the Midwest kind of thing, East Coast happening. But yeah, Frankie was a good friend, and then when I was actually a member of Rough Cut on Warner Brothers before Cats and Boots.
Really?
Yeah, in between Mary Hoax and Atlantic, I went with Rough Cut, and this is where the Joel Ellis came from. But we were because the DJ couldn't say my real last name, you know, Gajdos, you know, is a Hungarian gypsy name, but. So Ton Masteries of KNAC called, and we were preparing to open for Ronnie James Dio at Irvine Meadows.
Yeah, because Wendy was running also Rough Cut.
Yeah, exactly. And she said, David Alford from Shreveport, Louisiana, he answered the phone, you know, when we had telephones. Yeah. And he said, Ton. She said, I can't say your lead singer's name. He says, Ton, hold on. And he holds the phone. He goes, man, Ton can't say your name. We got to get you a name. So everybody in the band was yelling, you know, Joey Starr, Joey St. Pierre, you know, all these goofy names. I'm going, no. And he goes, Dave goes, hold on, Joel Ellis, Joel. Okay, and I go, that's great. Okay. He said, Ton, our new singer's name is Joel Ellis. And then we went on stage, opening for Ronnie, and Frankie was playing. Quiet Riot played the same show. And we were there. I think Great White was there, and we were opening. Yeah, it was a big show, completely sold out show. It was a festival for Children of the Night, and August 1st, '87. But so I'm on stage with Rough Cut, but I'm back before the show. I'm backstage. I'm talking to Jack Russell from Great White. He was also a very dear friend of mine. And I said, look out there. I go, there's 30,000 people. I never sang in front of an audience this big. And so I hear this voice behind me say, excuse me, did I hear you say that you're nervous? You've never sang? And I look, it's Ronnie. You know? And he says, don't fear. I'm going to give you the Ronnie mix. I'm going to call the sound man, and I'm going to give you full flying faders. You're going to sing through the same thing I sing through. And Jack looked at me, he goes, fuck you. And so, you know, I said, yeah, man, you know. And so then again, I hear a tap on my shoulder. He goes, in fact, and he pulls out a gold-plated microphone. He says, in fact, I'm going to let you use my microphone. And Jack was like, fuck you. So I went to the stage, and I'm singing, and it was a sea of people. And I was like, wow. And so we start playing, you know, Rough Cut. And I remember the song we were playing in the set. It was Nobody's Fault by Aerosmith on the Rocks record. And it was just one of my favorite songs. And I went to open my mouth to sing, and it sounded like jet aircraft engines coming out of the speakers. Oh, it was unbelievable. And I was like saying, Lord, I must be dreaming. What else could this be? And I spun around, and I ripped my leg in half. Now, before I went on stage, Frankie says to me, break a leg.
Whoa!
And then I went out and I did it. So then when Heavy Bones came together, Frankie, I brought him in the band. And Frankie, being in a band with Frankie was amazing. You know, I had to put glass walls because his kick drum every day was like getting punched in the back of the head. Yeah. So I put it up. Rex was a great bass player. He's really from the street, a great street rock player from Philadelphia. Gary, I hate to say, I don't want to sound negative, but I think probably a mistake. But, he's, like I said, there's a difference of a musician and an artist, right? And, artist is going to make you feel. But Gary was a guitar teacher down the street in Hollywood, so I thought, oh man, let me give this guy a break. He's going to be good. And he was great with theory and book knowledge of music and his technical playing. But you know, he could do.
As a band member.
He could create, you know, out of my ideas. He could create on the guitar. You know, how do you want it sound like this, sound like that? And you know, he might come up with an idea, and I say, yeah, let's play it more like this, and you know, the solo, let's do this. And so yeah, I kind of produced his playing on the record a lot. He was very difficult to be in a band with. So I don't think he's been in a band with anyone else. But you know, the chemistry of us getting together, it became something really great. But you know, our manager was just a little bit like crazy at the time, and I think he only wanted to see dollar signs, you know, Dave Kaplan. But you know, so he continued to try to push the record company to make us sound very pretty. And at the time, I was listening to a lot of Soundgarden and Mother Love Bone, you know, that kind of a, you know, thing. And I was really like loving the edge of Nirvana, the sound. But I wanted to be, of course, my roots and Led Zeppelin and this and that. So I thought maybe somewhere in there is a culmination of something very cool. But then we got Richie Zito, he's great producer, but he was producing bands like Cheap Trick and Heart and really pretty bands. So somewhere in there, that chemistry may have taken my original music vision to a different, prettier place. Yeah. But you can't deny, you know, the brilliant artistry of that. You know, it helped also that Warner Brothers, you know, gave us $500,000 for a record, which no band needs. You know, the Cats and Boots record, we did it like in 6 weeks. We just got in and played raw, and we worked with the producer of AC/DC and Mark Kopitz and Garth Richardson, who's you know, Rage Against the Machine producer. And we did it and knocked it out, you know, in 6 weeks, and the record was bigger and more raw and more true. I feel that way about Cats and Boots. I feel Cats and Boots is really a true rock and roll band in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
I have a lot of live material.
Oh, we're going to talk about this. Yeah. Ok, a ver si me acuerdo de todo. A ver, conoció a Frankie a través de... Él estuvo como cantante de Rough Cut antes de empezar con los Cats. Y en un concierto el 1 de agosto de 1987, era un concierto gigante, había un mar de gente, y ahí es donde conoció a Frankie, pero estaba Ronnie James Dio, Great White, Quiet Riot y Rough Cut. El tema es que conoce a Frankie y lo trae a su banda, Heavy Bones, y también ahí es donde conoce a Rex, a Gary. Él lo conoce a Gary trabajando de maestro, así que todo lo que es partituras, todo lo que es la parte teórica la conoce bien, pero en la parte musical de repente atrajo un poquito, participó un poco, pero no fue, se ve que la química aparentemente no fue la ideal para este grupo, y encima la visión de él era una, y con los productores que trabajaron, con Richie Zito, los llevaron para otro tipo de música. Él estaba más para el lado del grunge y esto fue para otro lado. Así que bueno, ahí terminamos el tema de Heavy Bones, y ahora le voy a preguntar un poquito acerca de los Cats in Boots, ¿ok? Cats in Boots, great band, you know, you were mentioning about that, you know, and you mentioned something about a live album.
Yeah, I have a lot of live material. A good friend of mine was a top television guy, and he gave me this camera, giant. You put the VHS tape in it, and you carry it. So we carried it everywhere with us on tour. And we were on stage. We give it to the road crew, and they came and filmed, and craziness, parties, everywhere from Japan and Hollywood through the 80s. I have some great vintage footage, but I had like probably 200 hours of video footage sitting in a
200 hours?
At least.
Wow.
At least. And some of the greatest, you know, some of it was video that are shot from a different camera in Japan or something, and a lot of it was just shot, you know, everything, tour bus antics backstage, everything. And but in all these tapes, on VHS, and the microphone was good, and the VHS tape is great sound quality. We didn't know that, but a lot of, in the olden days, people use VHS tape to transfer. And so even though it's old, there's a lot of in there that we can work with.
Still use it.
Yeah, but more importantly, though, I think there's some DVD material in there. I haven't figured out yet what to do with it, but yeah, I have a lot of it. And what's kind of cool is that Cats and Boots was never. We were always a live band.
Never beat a paper roll.
Never been a paper rose. That actually,
Check it out.
that line was thought up by the Rocket Queen, Adriana Smith. You remember from Guns N' Roses, the Rocket Queen? Yeah, and so she was at my apartment one night, you know, and we were having fun, and she says to me, she says, "Joel, you're never gonna be a paper rose or the owner of a lonely telephone." And I said, "Wow." I go, "That's a song. Let's write it."
Well, this is been my favorite song.
Really? Mine too. That and Every Sunrise. Those are my two favorite Cats and Boots songs. Yeah.
We have something in common.
We do.
Bueno, tiene un montón de material, tiene como 200 horas grabadas en VHS de todos los conciertos que hizo con los Cats. Y le estaba hablando de que... Bueno, lo corté con la charla porque mi tema favorito, que es Whip It Out, es el tema favorito de él, y le tiré la primera línea de cómo arranca el tema, y se puso a contar un poquito la historia de ese tema, que es la chica por la que los Guns N' Roses compusieron el tema Rocket Queen, estaba con él, se estaban divirtiendo, y le tiró esas primeras dos oraciones del tema, y dijo, esa es una letra para la canción, y ahí fue como terminó siendo parte de Whip It Out. Así que bueno, y tenemos el tema que más nos gusta a los dos, es ese, él le gusta a otro también.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this was our saying, you know, when she would come to my house, you know, my door was never locked. You know, everybody you can imagine, from Adriana to Eddie Van Halen to whoever, just come walking through the door. So when Adriana would come in, she would walk in the door and she would say, "Joel!" And I would say, "Whip it out, baby!" So it became the song.
Wow, bueno, cuando en la casa de todo el mundo entraba, desde Van Halen hasta Adriana, la chica que estábamos hablando, y cuando entró Adriana, de repente entraba ella y le decía, "Whip it out", ¿viste? Que es, creo que latiguear, algo así, de usar el látigo. ¿There's any chance, voy a preguntarle si se pueden algún día reunir, ¿there's any chance for a reunion with the Cats?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything were to happen, you know, possibly, you know, Takashi and I, you know, we were really the center of, you know, the writing in the band. So if he decides, you know, to write with me again, yeah, I mean, we have written a lot of...
Takashi was here like 4 years ago. I don't know if he comes often.
Oh, he's working with Brent Muscat from Faster Pussycat, and they were doing some things. Yeah, they think the pandemic, you know, squashed things, but, you know, I mean, we're like brothers, you know, we always think, you know, we are brothers of different mothers. And
that's good.
It's, yeah, but, you know, some things are a little bit difficult to work, you know, with, you know, he's not the easiest person to work with, and maybe neither am I. You know? But we spent so much time together, you know. You know, so we did some tour. We did a tour in Japan in 2003.
Yeah.
And then we've written songs, a lot of music we have written that never got recorded. So, you know, I'll maybe redo some of that. And I hope, you know, that he contacts me, and we will always do some work together. I think the best music, if you would ever know where Cats and Boots was eventually going to go, I think if you listen to my solo record coming out, because he plays guitar.
Oh.
And he is such a great artist. He truly is an artist, and his guitar playing goes beyond what people can see in Cats and Boots, you know, same as my voice. And I think if you listen to my new record, it's called Ellis Island, which means, like, yes, it's my record, and the studio is the island, and you know, musicians can come and go for different songs. And eventually I'll put together a great band to tour with, but I call it Ellis Island. It's my island, and you come to it. And so, but he has him on the island, and his guitar playing is amazing. And the other guitarist, Jimmy Zolo, he's a great blues player guitarist from San Diego. And there's a magic of chemistry, and I think that if people listen to it, you can see. And there are, maybe what I'll do is release a record that has the demos of the songs that we did that never got released. So Cats and Boots had enough material. We were a band that did everything live. So on the stage when we're playing songs, we'd be on the tour bus and come up with an idea and say, yeah, let's try and play this tonight. So we would actually play songs first time live.
Wow.
And I have video of a lot of those songs, you know, yeah.
Bueno, le estaba preguntando de la reunión y dice que no cree que pase. Con Takashi no están. Bueno, él, si Takashi lo contacta a él de vuelta, tal vez puedan hacer algo, pero no cree que pase eso. Y de repente también tienen un montón de material en vivo, de canciones que las componían mientras estaban en tour, que de repente las terminaban tocando en vivo y nunca estuvieron grabadas, y tiene todo eso en los VHS, así que material hay, material compuesto hay que no ha sido grabado, pero en definitiva como reunión en sí, según él, no cree que va a pasar. Así que vamos a ir medio cerrando a ver si podemos. There's anything, okay, about the solo, voy a preguntarle del solo del disco solista. About the solo record, who participated on this? What are the names of the guests?
Okay, so myself and Takashi from Cats and Boots is one guitarist, and Jimmy Zolo, the other guitarist. On drums is Larry Aberman. He played with the Vaughan Brothers, if you listen to Double Trouble. Then Phil Chen.
Oh, the one you already mentioned, right?
Yeah, Phil Chen, he played bass on Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow, and Rod Stewart. You know, he's a little Chinaman from Jamaica. You know, he played If You Think I'm Sexy. You know, the ba-da-doom bop, ba-da-doom bop, bop. So it's him, yeah. And so he played, and then another bassist, fantastic bassist. He played a 6-string fretless bass. And you'll hear it. His name is Hasim Jeffries. He played bass on some songs. Saxophone was George Shelby and Spider Middleman. The engineer is Barry Sanders. He played with. He engineered for the Moody Blues. Then we had a percussionist come in. I apologize, I don't remember his name, but he was in Santana. And a piano player who's a very close friend of mine is Michael Lord. And Michael Lord is just a highly accomplished pianist, perfect pitch. So, story with him is we in Jimi Hendrix's studio was a storage room, big and just locked shut. So we broke it open and said, "What's inside?" Of the other things, there was a piano in the corner, upright piano, and we pull out, had all kind of artwork on it, and it was the piano of Janis Joplin's band, Big Brother. So we thought, let's use it to record, but the piano was in such bad shape. So where the plate in the back was warped, and so everything was out of key, out of tune. And so I said, wait, I know a great keyboard, perfect pitch, Michael Lord. So make a long story short, on a tape machine, you have a knob on the old tape machines. You could slow the tape down. It's called a VSO, variable speed. And so what I did was I had an idea. Let's take middle C, dong, and then we match middle C and bring them down together. So when you do this, it slows the record down like, and so I said, let's match middle C, and then Michael, you tell me which keys on the keyboard are going to match the tone in middle C. He goes, seriously? I said, yeah, please. And so we got masking tape and magic marker, and I said, he puts dong, dong, he said for hours, and we put tape with an X, this and that. And then we said, okay, now you play to the song. He goes, like that? I said, how else you going to do it? So he's like, oh my God. So I have like 13 keys, and I have to play them really slow. So, bong, ding, 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 very slow. And then Bobby Womack was in the studio with us, right? And remember, Bobby was very close to Janis Joplin. In fact, the last record she did, Pearl, her and Bobby recorded a song called Trust Me, which is a beautiful song, by the way. And it's Bobby and Janis. Well, Bobby was with Janis the last night she was alive. They were up all night partying, and the sun came up. Janis said, Bobby, I got to go. I'll see you later. She went home, and she overdosed, and she died. So, yeah, and so Bobby was there in the studio, and with the Janis's piano, and he came to listen, and so we played it. We VSO'd it up to the song's real speed, and he heard the piano, and he got goosebumps up his arm, and he says, "Ooh, Joe, I gotta go." shit, the girl is in the room. And he had to leave. But if you listen to the record, you're going to hear her piano is unmistakable. Unmistakable, it was her piano. And so this is one of the, this recording session for Ellis Island, I can tell you the word is mystical. It is a mystical 1 week in the studio with beautiful artists, and just the music, the angels of music were with us. It was great. And there is even a song that it's called Lily, It's Not Over. And it just came to us suddenly. My friend Jimmy was kind of tuning. He had a 59 Strat, which is the cursed Strat, and Buddy Holly and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it's a legendary. He's playing a 59 Strat through an old amp, and he's down, 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 down. And all of a sudden, I'm testing a microphone for these guys, and all of a sudden, something came to me, boom, and I says, Barry, I go, Jimmy, keep playing that. Barry, hit record. And I just sang, the words came. And the song is about the angel who takes children to heaven. And it's a very beautiful lyric. And he sings, the angel is singing to the children and about life and love and death. And he says, take my hand, it's not over. And he takes them to heaven. And, this song is a very deep emotional song. But the words came to me, and in one take, boom, the guitar and vocals, one take, together. Wow. And he's looking and he's playing and watching me sing, and as I'm singing, and then he leaves the space, waiting for me to tell him, let's go to a change. No, I just kept singing, and he kept playing. And then he says, wait, I have a Gibson ES335. So it's a semi-hollow body, and the amp is a Tweed, was famous in the 50s for the feedback. So he said, and he did a slide guitar with the feedback, like this. And so the song is just two guitars and one voice. That's it. And it's a magical song.
It's going to be in the solo.
Huh?
In your solo album, right?
Yes, it will be there. The song, I was going to give away the YouTube link, but I'm not going to.
No.
I'll give you the YouTube. If you go and you want to hear Ellis and Angel with my son playing guitar, you just YouTube, this is Ellis and Angel, boom, and you will hear the song.
Okay. YouTube, this is Ellis and Angel. You got it? You got it?
But that's it's not my solo record.
No, that's the one
solo
with your,
record is Ellis Island.
Ellis Island, yeah. Bueno, ahí un poquito mencionó los que estaban en la banda de Ellis Island, ok, todos los que dijo ahí, Jackie Chan y todos esos. Jackie Chan, no, Phil Chan. Yeah, from the day first that I met Phil, I called him Jackie Chan. Sorry, Phil, no hard feelings. Y se puso a contar de vuelta la historia de, bueno, Bobby Womack como estuvo ahí presente también en la grabación y todo lo que pasó y todas las historias que contó también. Ahora sí, bueno, que diga algo más con respecto a cerrar la entrevista. There's anything else you want to say to your fans? You're wrapping up.
Yeah, I just I want to say, during these difficult times, you will have to keep your faith in love. And the way to survive all this that we are going through is to treat each other, everyone, whether you think they are wrong, I don't care. Treat them with respect and love, and when it's given to you, pay it forward, okay? And
Thank you, Joe.
Tomo arigato. Tomo arigato.
Bueno, dice que en los tiempos difíciles que estamos, que no importa cómo esté la gente y todo, sino de que no hay que perder respeto y hay que tratar bien a la gente. Y ahí le dije, le dije, fuck you, Joe,
Okay, I hear it all the time. You asked me, did I go to jail? What was that about?
Oh, yeah, tell me. I mean, I heard something, escuché una vez de que se había metido en problemas. I heard something about you got in trouble, but I don't know exactly what happened because I read that years ago. And I don't know, you were living here.
I was living here. When I was living here, I may have gone to jail every other weekend. You know, we just like everyone else. You know, it was a good place to sleep. You know, free room and board.
Free food.
Yes, free food. Well, yeah, the food. I don't know.
Free roommates, very friendly.
No, but no, I never got criminal charges. I didn't go to jail, but yeah, I should have many times. But this was the '80s. I mean, I think that we all we all lived our 9 lives in the '80s.
Bueno, el tema es que había visto algo de que, no sé si fue a la cárcel o dice que no, nunca, que debería haber ido muchas veces. Primero bromeó, dijo sí, iba cada fin de semana, renta gratis, comida gratis, compañeros amigables, y él decía no. Y que no, nunca nunca estuvo en la cárcel, que en los 80 hizo algunas cosas que por ahí lo tenían que haber metido en la cárcel.
Yeah, well, you know, I hope to play South America and all of the territories, the Latin American territories. I think that it's an audience that I haven't spent enough time in my career, but I hope to really heavily come and play any types of festivals in Latin America. I'm would be very honored to have your audience. And hopefully the police will be easy on us, you know. I'm a good boy now, you know.
I can't tell. I don't know. Joe, thank you for the interview.
Yes, thank you, Lucas. It's been a pleasure. Long time. I've waited a long time. We waited.
Finally made it.
That's right. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. Bueno, esto fue todo. Adiós. Gracias. Bueno, ahí estamos de vuelta y ahora sí con audio, qué bueno. Les quería dedicarle, I would like to dedicate this interview to Phil Chen. Quiero dedicarle esta entrevista a Phil Chen, que falleció hace poquito tiempo, así que ahí estábamos hablando de él. Phil Chen fue bajista de Rod Stewart, ¿okay? El tema Piensas que soy sexy, bueno, ese bajo es probablemente uno de los sonidos de bajo más populares, más conocidos de la historia. Así que bueno, y otra cosa que me olvidé de comentar, en el disco de Áspera, okay, de Hijo de Puta, que me lo firmó acá Ricardo y Peter, okay. Richard no me pude encontrar con él, pero en el próximo viaje a Argentina, Richard, ahí está, vamos a tener unos mates y unos... de repente unas ginebras, ¿ok? Memorando el espíritu de Luca Prodan. Así que bueno, ahora vamos a pasar a las noticias rapidito, ya cerrando prácticamente este programa. Primero vamos con... veamos, vamos a ver qué tenemos acá. Ah, sí, antes que nada les quiero decir que pueden hacerse sus taxes con Men Income Tax, ¿ok? Men Income Tax, pues, le pueden escribir a menincometax@gmail.com, ¿ok? No me quiero olvidar de eso. Y gracias, Mariano, por editar esta entrevista. Excelente edición. Les recuerdo por dónde salimos antes. Salimos por todos los medios sociales, por Twitch, YouTube, Trovo, Twitter, VK, Facebook y Dailymotion, ¿ok? Y hay un par de medios sociales muy populares también, que por ahí, si tengo ganas, empiezo a formar para que salga por ahí también, ¿ok? Vamos a las noticias. Miren acá, tenemos finalmente el Stadium Tour, ¿ok? La gira de estadios con los Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison y Joan Jett and the Black Hearts. Yeah, Black Hearts. Me confundo porque creo que eran... Heartbreakers era antes. Bueno, ahora estoy confundido. Bueno, finalmente van a salir al ruedo este año, después de 2 años que se había pospuesto la entrevista. Perdón, la gira. Ok, estoy chequeando que esté todo bien. Vamos a hacer así, mira, vamos a poner acá. Ahí está, por las dudas. han agregado a, no sé si han agregado a Joan Jett para que haya presencia femenina, ¿ok? No sé si es una cuestión de, tal vez de moda. Bueno, ustedes sabrán que las películas hoy en día han querido ampliar muchas cosas, han querido cambiar muchas cosas para bien, ¿ok? Y yo no sé si para quitarle un poquito de masculinidad a toda esa masa de huevos que van a tocar ahí, en el buen sentido de la palabra. Pero bueno, vamos a tener esta gira que comienza el 16 de junio en Atlanta y termina el 27 de agosto estarán en Los Ángeles, y termina en septiembre en Las Vegas. Sí, dije bien. Termina en Las Vegas, el 27 de agosto van a estar en el SoFi Stadium acá. Y bueno, hablando de los Motley Crue, resulta que John Corabi, vamos a poner así, vamos a sacar este y vamos a poner este. Y vamos a sacar el social media, que era este de acá. Ahí está. Ahora vamos a poner a John Corabi. John Corabi acaba de hablar de la serie, la famosa, la infame o famosa, como lo quieran ver, porque eso depende quién la haya visto y lo que piense de cada uno, de la historia de Tommy Lee. Ok, estamos hablando de los Motley Crue, así que bueno, John Corabi, les recuerdo que fue el vocalista de los Motley Crue por un breve periodo de un solo disco, casualmente titulado Motley Crue. Él estuvo en esta época con bastante cercano a Tommy, obviamente, porque estaba en la banda y Pamela estaba ahí dando vueltas también. Y dice que la serie, vamos a ponerla, Pam y Tommy es pura mierda, ¿ok? Es una porquería, que todo lo que están pasando en la serie no tiene nada que ver con la historia de Tommy Lee. Y bueno, es la opinión de John Corabi, que casualmente estuvo en esa época. Trataba muchísimo obviamente con el astro de la batería de los Motley Crue y uno de mis bateristas favoritos, Tommy Lee. No me olvido de nada, creo que acá en el script creo que está todo bien. Les recuerdo que, bueno, hoy fue el segundo programa de 10, vamos a hacer 10 programas de Viva la Fiesta con Lucas, y estamos saliendo como siempre en vivo, después pueden verlo en diferido. Estamos saliendo en vivo por todos los medios sociales a las 7 de la noche, horario Los Ángeles, 10 de la noche, horario Miami. En este momento, bueno, una vez que queda grabado lo pueden ver en cualquier momento, pero en vivo en este momento en Sudamérica Este, que incluye Argentina, estamos a la medianoche. En Sudamérica Oeste creo que es el mismo horario de México, si no me equivoco. Creo que son 2 horas de diferencia, sería a las 9 de la noche. No puede ser tanto. Creo que es a las 10 de la noche. Bueno, ahí lo ven en los banners. Apoyen a esta propuesta, apoyen este trabajo arduo. Compártanlo si pueden. Suscríbanse en el canal YouTube. Denle like si pueden. Al menos me acompaña, ¿ok? Es una buena manera de demostrar su apoyo y lo aprecio muchísimo, ¿ok? Bueno, me voy yendo, me voy despidiendo. Este segundo episodio de Viva la Fiesta con Lucas. Nos vemos el viernes que viene, si Dios quiere, y cuídense, pásenla bien. Amén, ¿ok? Están acá en mi corazón.